So you know Chapter 3 is almost here, right? Confirmed to release in December, new lore is right around the corner, so we'll know more about the smiling critters, find out what Kissy Missy really wants from us, and maybe even learn more about our favorite little arm, the prototype. However, with new lore, it's important to retrace our steps and remind ourselves about what's canon right now. So join me as I give you a recap on everything that's happened in the game so far, from Chapter 1 all the way through Chapter 2. Starting us off, we open to a VHS telling us about Playtime Co's first truly intelligent doll in the world, Poppy. A doll which can hold a conversation. Hey, I wonder why that is. Anyways, the VHS ends with a mysterious door with a massive poppy flower surrounding it. As an ex-employee from the factory, we get a letter informing us that the staff that disappeared are still here and to find the poppy flower, likely in reference to the end of that tape. We enter the building and quickly get access to the grab pack, device used to grab distant objects, open specialty doors, and conduct electricity. Upon opening the first door, we're met with what seems to be a massive statue of Huggy Wuggy, which after solving a wire puzzle mysteriously vanishes. We continue nonetheless, powering up the warehouse to obtain the red hand attachment and proceed to make a friend. A poster on the wall tells us about their orphan program called the Adoptive Care Initiative, which is important for later lore. On the Make a Friend info sign, we also learn of the founder's name, Elliot Ludwig, which we were also told in the VHS at the start of the game. We create a Cappy and attempt to proceed through the toy-activated door, only to be ambushed by an all-too-familiar Huggy Wuggy. Quickly rushing through the now open ventilation shaft, the player is pursued by Huggy Wuggy and must rush through as fast as they can, lest they be mangled by a double set of teeth. Rushing to the end, they quickly grab a box which plunges Huggy Wuggy into the depths of the factory. Finally safe, a VHS can be found just a short distance away, referencing the mysterious experiment 1006. Shortly after, a banging sound is heard. The tape is cut off, which alongside the distant screaming heavily implies that the scientist in the tape was killed by whatever was banging on that door. We see the poppy flower door that was alluded to at the start of the game, only now it has numerous warnings sprawled across, begging whoever sees them to turn back while they still can. Ignoring the warning, we proceed to what looks to be a vintage home's hallway, and can hear the faint chime of a music box ahead. Opening one last door, we find the Poppy doll in a cage, surrounded by pillows and red light, and when opened, the lights flicker, and Poppy wakes up.
You opened my case.
Starting in Chapter 2, we begin with yet another VHS advert intro, this time telling us about the new Mommy Longlegs toy made out of stretchable elastic plastic. Near the end of the VHS, however, it warns us not to expose the toy to extreme heat or freezing temperatures. We wake up shortly after the events of the first chapter, only Poppy is nowhere to be seen. Delving deeper back into a more normal looking part of the factory, we quickly find Elliot Ludwig's room, name embroidered with gold. Finding a key and entering the room, we find a VHS as well as a paper covering a failed experiment to revive a rat with poppy flower gel. The VHS lets us in on more about Elliot and the company's creation. Most interestingly, it describes an especially vague family death in 1960 that pushed him to his lowest, but nonetheless didn't stop him from innovating with his company. Unfortunately, the tape cuts itself off right before revealing the date Ludwig formed Playtime Co. Damn you, Mob Entertainment, damn you! We use a vent in the office to enter another wire puzzle room, where we finally find Poppy again, who claims they were just trying to get the power back on. After completing the puzzle, Poppy tells us they were trapped in that case from before for so long, and that they'd like to pay us back by giving us access to the train station. Before they can do anything though, Poppy is snatched by a hand from the bottom of a pit and we must jump down to save her. The pit turns out to actually be a slide which is supposed to be Elliot's. However, we can see multiple other slides belonging to other company members, such as Stella Graber, Laith Pierre, and Eddie M&R. The hallway leads us down to a new hand door. However, as we try to unlock it, something snatches away our red hand and out comes Mommy Longlegs. The one who captured Poppy is holding her hostage. She offers the train code in exchange that we beat all the games in the game station, quote, just like old times, implying that we worked in this sector before.
The game station is still working. It will be just like old times.
However, she warns us that we must obey the rules or she'll tear us apart. Yeah, wow, yeah. Cool, yeah! Inside, we flick a lever that starts up the game station. We can hear a recording play from Stella Graber, one of the 4 names mentioned earlier, introducing the games which are apparently used to test how crazy, strong, and smart children work. We enter down towards musical memory, however are detoured by a hole in the wall that leads us to the molding room, where the player makes themselves a green hand. A special hand that can not only conduct electricity, but carry it as well. We use this hand to make our way to the musical memory room itself, where Bunzo Bunny is suspended above us, hungry and ready for us to fail. However, the game quickly breaks down and we are forced to shut it off.
Oh, it broke.
Mommy Longlegs gives us the first part of the train code. Trying to leave, the bridge breaks, forcing us to use a vent to leave, putting us into an old storage room filled with rejected toys long forgotten, such as Kick Me Paul or the Barrel of Huggies. The most noteworthy of these rejections is retail shipment number 018345, which was apparently miscolored due to someone named Patty Hall messing with the paint machine. Ominously, this entry ends with the note that they have since been dealt with. After completing a few more puzzles, we return to the game station and are quickly sent off to Whack-A-Wucky, a game to test the reaction introduction time of these children. Beating it, we obtain the next part of the train code and find ourselves in a rail room where a door opens revealing Kissy Missy. She doesn't attempt to harm us like her other counterpart, however, as she helps us with the lever and leaves. We find a minecart labeled Berry, which we carry with us and eventually have to kill to progress, returning us to the game station once more to go play statues. It is here we are told a little more about what Mommy's motives are.
They called me Mommy because I was the closest thing they ever had to one. But you worked here. So if anyone deserves to die alone, it's you.
PJ Pugapillar stalks us down as we move through the game, but upon seeing the end blocked off by debris, we're forced to crash through the nearby window. In this room, we find numerous assessment forms, showing how children scored in tests as well as what toy they were assigned to, implying that the Adoptive Care Initiative was actually being used to turn children into living toys. From Michaela's first entry, we also find that she stopped paying attention during the statues game and started screaming and pointing at something else in statues when nothing is there. The second entry is also here, indicating that she has improved, however she still seems to see something the testers cannot, as it states something within statues is drawing her attention away from the obstacle, before cutting off abruptly with blood splatter, implying the scientist died while writing. We escape statues, which Mommy notices and then begins begging us to return.
It is over. You won. Come back and Mommy will give you the code. Pinky promise. Where are you? Come back to me!
Finding us, Mommy's outraged that we quote-unquote cheated the game and demands one last game, hide and seek. We run through the dilapidated factory, being chased most of the way as we dash down a hall and quickly turn on the grinder, which Mommy slides into, getting their hands stuck in. She panics trying to pull it out to no avail. Desperate, she tries to beg and plead with the player, vaguely saying that he'll make me a part of him.
You'll make me part of you! You can't do this to me!
With her midsection crushed, she dies and falls limply to the floor. Before we leave, however, a strange mechanical hand emerges and drags her into the darkness, likely the he she was referring to. The door behind us opens and we find another black tape from the same scientist who told us about Experiment 1006 at the end of Chapter 1. They continue about Experiment 1006, known more commonly by the prototype. He apparently nearly breached containment by disassembling an alarm clock in his room to disable the security camera and force someone else to check on him and ensure he was still there. The prototype used this opportunity to try and escape, however another surveillance specialist was able to remotely relock the door despite the other specialists still being inside, resulting in their death. The scientist also briefly tells us about Experiment 1170, Huggy Wuggy, and how they are the most optimal result of the experiments so far due to their obedience in comparison to the prototype. With the log over, we free Poppy, who monotonely notes that we need to leave. We board the train, pop in the code, and Poppy gives us one last speech, telling us that we're perfect, too perfect to lose.
Do you know how long I've been stuck in that case? I had so much time to think and reflect. We'll set things right. Terrible things have happened, but I know that whatever I need you to do, you're capable. We will.
Suddenly though, the train starts to malfunction, going far faster than intended. Trying to pull the emergency lever, the train crashed on its side at the entry of Playcare. And with that, we have discussed all of the lore from the game before Chapter 3, and as I'm sure you may have noticed, I didn't include any of the ARGs yet. However, if folks are interested, then maybe after Chapter 3's launch, I can create a part 2 talking about the lore from the ARGs and the new chapter. So do you think the prototype will return in Chapter 3? What do you think will happen next? And most importantly, what do you think about Chapters 1 and 2 so far? This is Spice from Cut Cafe. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the flip side. Peace!